We've talked about what they test on
What's next?
competition. How competitive are these exams?
Ooh, good question. And remember, we've been throwing around some big numbers.
Millions of applicants in some cases.
So how do they actually stack up in terms of, like, how hard it is to actually pass?
Well, if we're talking numbers alone,
Yeah.
India and China are definitely the most competitive.
Makes sense, with those huge populations.
It's like imagine a giant stadium
Okay,
packed with people,
I'm imagining it.
and they're all trying to get through like one tiny door.
That's a good analogy.
It's that competitive.
So you're saying luck plays a role.
It definitely plays a role,
Yeah.
especially when you're up against so many other talented people.
But it's not just about luck, right?
Oh, no.
You still have to know your stuff.
Absolutely. The standards are incredibly high no matter where you are.
So it's a combination of factors.
The number of applicants, how difficult the exam is, and, there's always an element of subjectivity in how the exams are graded.
It's true, those graders have a lot of power. Okay, let's move on to exam structure.
All right, how are these tests actually set up?
Yeah, some are multi-stage,
Some are just one day.
some are mostly written, some have oral components.
It's a real mix.
It is, and I think the structure tells us a lot about what each country values in its civil servants.
How so?
Well, take India and South Korea, for example.
Both multi-stage, right?
Exactly. So you might start with a preliminary exam.
Just to weed out some people.
Yeah, like a first hurdle.
Then what?
Then, if you pass that, you move on to more specialized exams.
To really test your knowledge.
And your analytical skills.
Right.
And then, for the lucky few who make it through all that,
There's usually an interview.
to assess your personality, communication skills, all that good stuff.
So it's like a marathon with multiple checkpoints.
A mental obstacle course. Now, how's the U.S. FSOT structured?
More of a sprint, right?
It's a single-day exam.
But it's packed into that one day.
Oh, yeah. You've got written sections, multiple choice questions, essays, and then if you pass all that,
There's an oral assessment.
which includes a group exercise
Interesting.
and a personal interview.
So they're trying to get a sense of how you interact with others.
Exactly. And what about France?
With their emphasis on critical thinking.
How do they structure their Concours exam?
Well, they often have oral exams
Okay.
and practical exercises. They want to see you think on your feet,
Makes sense.
how you analyze information, how you argue a point.
It's like they're testing your ability to, like, perform under pressure.
That's a good way to put it.
And finally, China.
The one with 1 million applicants.
So one and only, what kind of structure do they use?
Well, it's a single written test,
Okay.
but don't let that fool you.
Oh.
It's super comprehensive.
Like mind-blowingly comprehensive.
It covers so much material. It's a test of knowledge, but also endurance.
You got to stay focused for hours and hours.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about what they test on, how competitive they are, and how they're structured.
Now, for the big question.
The question everyone wants to know.
Which one is the hardest?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. But you're the expert, so what do you think?
Well, honestly, there's no easy answer.
How so?
It really depends on the individual.
Their strengths, weaknesses, all that.
Exactly. What one person finds easy, another person might find impossible.
So it's all relative.
In a way, yes. But, some exams definitely have a reputation for being particularly brutal.
Like
Well, the UPSC, for example,
India's exam.
it's considered one of the toughest exams in the world.
We talked about that massive
That
syllabus.
multi-stage process, the intense competition,
People study for years for that thing.
it's like a full-time job.
And what about China's exam?
Does the sheer number of applicants make it automatically harder? Well, the scale definitely adds to the pressure.
1 million people taking the same test.
But it's also about the breadth of knowledge you need.
And the fact that you only get one shot.
One day, one test. That's it.
High stakes.
So, yeah, I'd say both the UPSC and China's exam are definitely up there in terms of difficulty.
Okay, so hardest is relative.
Hmm,
But some exams are definitely tougher than others.
for sure.
But no matter which exam you're taking,
Yeah.
you're going to need grit, determination, and probably a lot of coffee.
And good study plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, beyond all the stress and the late nights,
Mm-hmm.
these exams represent something really important.
What's that?
The idea that anyone can work for the government if they have the skills.
It's about meritocracy, right?
Exactly. It doesn't matter who your family is or how much money you have.
If you're smart and you work hard, you have a chance.
That's a powerful idea, and I bet that sense of purpose keeps a lot of people going through all the studying and the stress.
I bet it does. It's not just about getting a job. It's about serving your country.
And making a difference.
Right. So for anyone listening who might be thinking about a career in civil service,
Yeah.
keep that in mind. It's a tough road,
It is.
but it can be incredibly rewarding.
Well said. Now, for those who are feeling inspired,
Mm.
but maybe also a little intimidated by all this,
I can see how they might feel that way.
focus, self-discipline.
Right? Those are skills that can take you anywhere.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think the takeaway here is that passing a civil service exam is a great goal, but it's also important to remember that the skills you learn along the way are valuable in themselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So keep that in mind, listeners, as you start your study journey.
You might even discover a love of learning that goes way beyond the exam room.
Who knows? The possibilities are endless.
That's the spirit.
All right. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.